I found this interesting. George Santos, after denying for years that he had like a drag queen character, apparently rolled her out for Cameo. Let's listen to a little bit of this. Good for her. I mean, this is, I almost feel like supporting her for Congress. But here we go.
Hey, Club Condo. It's your favorite, Katara. After 18 years in the closet, George Santos pulled me back out. Whatever. Anyway, I hear you're a bunch of little freaks out there and you love to dance all night long like it's nobody's business. You know what? You gotta elevate it. Gotta make it more risque. You gotta make it more fun. Where's the zhuzh? I have an advice for you.
The zhuzh?
How about put some wigs on, get some boas, and go have real fun. Let's see who whips your hair faster, side to side, whatever. But y'all gotta stop being boring. Dave essentially thinks you're boring because he wants you all to be more risque.
It's so upsetting seeing the Cameo part. Like where you hear like Dave and the guitar, whoever it is. I don't want to get into Dave's business.
This is going to get, sad, right?
At one point, it's going to get, at one point. But I mean...
Because where does he have to go from here now? You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel of like, how do I get attention as it wanes, as I see views drop, as people forget who I even am anymore?
As I am facing down the barrel of going to jail for many years.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, there's a need for cash. But this I found really interesting. Here is former Rep. George Santos was in a Twitter space with, does he call himself a neo-Nazi?
He's a white nationalist. He just got reinstated by...
on Twitter, yeah. So Nick Fuentes is on there. And I found this exchange really interesting because I wonder what Santos knows.
And have him accusing me of being a child pornographer, and I can't even hear what he's saying. I think that's inappropriate to begin with, and then for that to go on when I can't even...
Just ask him if he's gay or not. That's all I want to know.
Okay, so Suleiman, do you want to ask a question? It's a reasonable question.
I mean, it's a bit of a dumb question, right?
Asked by a drag queen, by the way.
So it's a question about your sexuality, Nick. I'm not sure how it's relevant, but I'll ask it just because it was asked, and then we'll go to Destiny right after.
I just
not sure if you want to answer that question, Nick.
Deny it, that's all.
What's the question? Well, I don't want to participate in this if people are going to be talking and I can't hear them.
Good. So it was a question.
I've been waiting a while.
So I'm going to do this. Myron and then Destiny. So the question after you, Nick, if you want to answer it or not. So George Santos asked the question if you're gay or not, and then Myron wanted to speak, and then Destiny wanted to ask a final question. So after you can answer the question, Nick,
isn't it? Like that's a ridiculous question. And to be honest, like George Santos, the guy who's basically conducted more Islamophobia than anyone knows, ironic that he would say that. But anyway, go ahead, Nicholas.
I think Nick is pretty good at defending himself. Go ahead, Nick.
I have said it repeatedly, and I have no problem with hard questions, but I can't hear him, and these are not even legitimate questions. This is just asinine personal attacks. So I'm frankly, if this is how it's going to be, and I don't know if you're hearing me, but I'm not going to participate.
No, we can hear you.
You're bringing people up to call me a gay pornographer, and then I don't even hear the question. This is ridiculous.
First off, let me just say this technology of the party line on Twitter is one of the so it's unbelievable. It's like
you can see why DeSantis wanted to launch his campaign on this platform.
2003 on there.
Conference call.
I just found that interesting that Nick was so offended by that question. Now he has been very explicit.
Ask me that question, Sam.
Are you gay?
No, I'm not. It'd be fine if I was, but I'm not. It's not a hard question. Actually.
Well, I wouldn't even ask that question of you, frankly. It wouldn't really interest me that much, unless, of course, you had made part of your living and your name being pretty virulently homophobic. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like Nick Fuentes is out there not being anti-gay. He is. I've seen this. He mixes it in with his anti-Semitism and his misogyny and his racism and whatnot. And, I've always said, like, if I saw a guy who was an anti-Semite and then I was at Temple and I saw him at Temple, I would be like, hey, man, like, you're a hypocrite. Like, I don't think you should be going out there and, And so let's say, for instance, like, if I was gay and I saw somebody out there being anti-gay, and maybe I was at a gay club or somewhere like that, and I saw them, and I would say, "Hey, that guy's gay." I would have no problem outing that person. Now, I'm not gay. I mean, I've been to gay clubs, but I'm not gay myself. But there are gay people out there, and if it was a situation where Nick Fuentes had a relationship, now granted, maybe this relationship was several years ago when he was younger, but he's not that old. You know, and if there were letters that he had written.
And photos.
And photos.
Too.
I don't know. That might be something that, even though, like, I don't, obviously, not only do I not have a problem with gay people, and like gay people, and think that they should have actually probably greater rights than we have now in terms of protection, in terms of hiring, firing, etc. But it's really more the hypocrisy, and it'd be interesting to see if his audience still supported him in the same way if that type of stuff got released.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I would maybe try to avoid the question as well if I had he didn't really answer Santos there. He got a little nervous.
It was weird because, maybe he doesn't want to be seen. I don't know. I mean, maybe if he dignified it with a response, he might, I'm not quite sure why one might not answer that, but in some ways it's almost admirable that he wouldn't answer that question, but of course he didn't hear it. So
the technology is pretty rough.
The technology
could have been just that.
Kind of bleak. I mean, just hypothetically, not related to anything we're talking about, but think of a sort of media figure having something, sort of blackmail material on him that maybe, is used to control him, make him say crazier things. I don't know. Or maybe he's sort of running away from. I
hadn't really contemplated that dynamic could take place.
Me neither.
I wonder.
Just daydreaming.
I wonder we should maybe take a poll. Do people think that if it came out that Nick Fuentes was Jewish, would it hurt his career? Or, for instance, if he were gay, would it hurt his career?
Yeah.
I wonder if we can get a poll up about that.
As just a thought exercise.
Yeah.
Like, would maybe he change the course of action just to make sure that fact was concealed?
Right.
Interesting thing to contemplate.
Just a thought experiment.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.